Everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amanda White, and I'm the Academy Director here at Kentucky Dance Academy, and I'm going to walk you through our parent orientation for our 2021 and 2022 season. In the full interest of disclosure and all of that, I did this yesterday, and it's just like way too long and way too boring. So I'm going to try to do it again. I'm going to try to do it quicker. If you have questions about what I'm talking about, there's much more detailed information in our handbook, and that's linked on our website, and I'll make sure to send out a PDF version of that as well. So if anything is unclear, it's written out more fully in our handbook, but I know some people do better hearing information, so I wanted to do this as an option. Also, you can always ask me questions. So I'm going to try to do this one quicker, and I'm going to try to just hit the bullet points to get everybody on the same page. But I'll also send out like this recording, but also a PDF version of the handbook and a PDF of all the slides, just so you have all that information in different ways so you can get everything that you need to get. Because the whole goal is making sure that everybody feels empowered to know what's going on. We don't want anybody to be like in the dark and have questions and not know what to do. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go through our parent orientation. Here we go. All right, so let's get going. So Kentucky Dance Academy, a parent orientation for the 2021-22 season. I already can't talk, it's going great. Here's the agenda. This is the order we're gonna go in. If you're clear on something and you wanna skip to another section, this is kind of the plan for the day. Dress code, classroom etiquette and studio conduct, tuition policies, performance opportunities, progression through levels, additional pre-professional division requirements, COVID for 2021, 2022, that's biggie. Studio communication you can expect from the studio to the families, and then my contact information at the end. So the dress code basics are that really you don't need under leotard and tights, you don't really need underwear. So if dancers are more comfortable wearing it, that's fine. Just know that that's not really intended. You don't have to do that. As our dancers develop, they may want sports bras or other bras under their leotards. Our male identifying dancers probably would want a dance belt just to make sure they're holding everything and nothing feels funny. But we can address that as they get older and know that that's an option. The big one that we struggle with every year is that our hair has to be back from our face. That's partially, it's a look thing, partially it just looks more clean and professional and less distracting for the dancers and for the teachers. But it's also a safety thing because we can't see the alignment of our dancers' necks and heads and make sure that they're in good, safe alignment if their hair is down and in the way or if it's really distracting. It also affects when our dancers are spotting their head, where you turn your head when you're turning. If their hair is loose, they don't feel like they can spot because their hair will fall down. So we really need to be clear and consistent that we have our hair up, preferably in a bun, but a ponytail is fine for a lot of genres as well, but bun is priority one. This is a new thing that we're going to implement this year because we did struggle in a lot of our classes with dancers consistently being out of dress code. So it's not a surprise that we are expecting the dancers to always be in dress code. And there's mistakes like you forget your bag one day or like you had to run from school or something. So those things happen, but it got really consistent with several of our dancers that they just were never in dress code. Dancers with specific concerns regarding modesty, body image issues, comfort in their recommended dress code, you can talk to your teacher and find a solution, right? We don't want anybody to feel like they can't take dance class because they are not comfortable in what the dress code is. So if it's an issue of like a religious modesty thing or just a personal modesty thing, that they're not comfortable in that, if they're struggling with, some of our dancers don't like to show some scars they have, or they have a specific part of their body that they feel embarrassed about. Whatever that is coming up, we can find a solution. So always talk to your teacher because it's fine to find that. But whatever you decide that dress code adjustment is going to be for you, you have to be in that dress code. Our new rule is if a dancer is out of dress code twice in a row, the academy director, me, will contact the dancer's parent or guardian. And we don't want this to be like a punishment thing. Like nobody wants Miss Amanda to call their mom or their dad or whatever. But mostly it's to make sure everybody's aware of what the situation is and figure out what is preventing this dancer from being in dress code. So often like the parent doesn't even know that the kid's not wearing their tap shoes or whatever it is. And so they'll handle it and figure out why that is, if the shoes don't fit or like they feel like they don't have time to change or whatever it is. So often the parent just doesn't know. And so I'm just going to tell the parent or guardian what's going on. Sometimes it's that the parent or guardian doesn't realize that's something that they need for class, and then I can clarify that. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that they needed jazz shoes for this class. And we'll make sure that they have the finances to get those, where to get them, they know exactly what they need. So sometimes it's a disconnect there, and sometimes it's the dancer is not comfortable talking to their teacher or to their parent about something they're not comfortable with dress code. And so this will give us the opportunity for the parent or guardian and me and the dancer to figure out, okay, why is this a problem and how can we solve it? So that's what this new rule is. Dancer's out of dress code twice in a row. We're gonna let the family know, and then we'll go from there. This is a little graphic to show you how to get your hair up in a ballet bun. The thing that I see the most with problems with buns is that we're not starting with a tight enough ponytail. So like slick that hair back, because that's going to give you a good strong foundation, and then pin that hair down so then there's no wobbles in your bun, which is what makes your hair fall down. Obviously this is a dancer with pretty long, pretty straight hair, and so this won't work for every hair type. This is an option for our dancers with different textures of hair or for shorter hair. It's a donut bun. They sell these at like Walmart and Walgreens. And essentially you like wrap the hair around the donut shaped sponge or sock or whatever it is and pin it down. But the same thing here, like really start with a tight ponytail and add lots and lots of pins there to hold it tight to your head. Because the whole point is, one, we want to see the dancer's head and neck and face and all of that, but also we don't want them to be distracted. This is a minimizing distractions thing. I'm going to try to go through the dress code pretty quick because all of this is listed on these slides, but also in the handbook. Basically, for almost every single genre of dance, you want a leotard of any color. We don't care about colors at all. Tights that are skin tone or pink are ideal. And that's for female identifying dancers, then whatever shoes are required. So ballet shoes for ballet classes, jazz shoes for jazz classes, bare feet for contemporary and acro, clean tennis shoes for hip hop, and tap shoes, black tap shoes. Usually the color of shoe won't matter as much until we get to performance time, and then it does. We're gonna talk a little more about pink tights versus skin tone tights in a later slide, but the basics are leotard, tights, and then proper shoes. Our male identifying dancers, it's play clothes that are pretty tight fitting so we can still see your body. White socks or black socks and black shoes are white ballet shoes, and then the same tap shoes, jazz shoes, bare feet, clean tennis shoes that we need for all those classes. We do include an option for our non-binary dancers. They're allowed to choose what works for them. Yeah, we want them to still be visible to us. We want us as our teachers to be able to safely teach them and see what their body is doing, but they can choose what works for their body and what works for their identity. And then again, get your hair up out of your face, nice and tight. All of these slides are more specific for the different pre-professional classes. So ballet, leotard and tights, or tight-fitting shirt and pants, and then ballet shoes. Jazz is a little different. Miss Brittany prefers black on black. So black leotard or tank top, and then black bottom shorts, tights, pants, leggings, whatever that is. And then warm-ups for our older dancers, so we're making sure our muscles get nice and warm before we start dancing. Contemporary is also a little different. It's training days are going to be leotard of any color, and then tights of any color, bare feet or socks, depending on what you're doing in class that day. And then our male identifying dancers, tight fitting and bare feet or socks. And then there will be days that you're doing like a combination day where you're performing a piece that you've been working on in class, and then you're allowed to make choices however you want to look that day and however you want to dance that day within reason. Like, you know, pick stuff that you will be able to move in, but you get a lot more freedom on those combination days. And Miss Brittany's going to communicate that to the dancers, what days are going to be training days where you need to be in dress code with your hair up, and what days are combination days where you can have a little more freedom. For tap, essentially the same as contemporary, leotard of any color, tights of any color, black tap shoes. You can have warm-ups on as long as it's within reason. Don't wear super baggy stuff top and bottom, because then we can't see what you're doing. For our male identifying, our t-shirt or tank top, and then tight fitting bottoms, and then warm-ups as you need. Everybody does need black tap shoes, and if you have questions about the brand that Miss Caroline prefers, she'll answer those questions. I'll make sure that you get in contact with her. We generally don't want the ones with heels. She's a rhythm tapper, so it's like the lace-up kind. And then hair out of your face just so it's not a distraction. For acro, it's a little bit more specific, just that we need no warm-ups, and we also need absolutely no jewelry, because that makes spotting harder and we can injure our dancers' bodies. If you catch like an earring and it rips out, that really hurts, and we don't want that. Bare legs are fine for acro, so if you don't want to wear tights, you don't have to. Booty shorts are fine, leotard of any color, but we want to be sure that Miss Susanna can see your body and make sure that you're doing things safely. And then when she does have to physically touch our dancers and spot them when they're doing these different gymnastic and tumbling tricks, that they're safe. I will say that sometimes a bun that's higher up on a dancer's head can be in the way if they're doing rolls and stuff in acro. So I strongly suggest a bun still, just so you don't like catch your hair on the mat with your hand or whatever, and it hurts when you pull your hair. But start experimenting with maybe a low bun, or like space buns lower, or a bun off to the side, just so you can still roll, and like it won't be in the way and it won't hurt your neck, but it's also up out of the way, and you're not going to pull your own hair, or Miss Susanna won't accidentally grab it when you're being spotted. Our theater dance dress code is the same as jazz. So the black on black is what we're asking for. And then character shoes are high-heeled shoes for our female identifying dancers. Learning how to dance in heels is an important skill. They're not super high or anything, but it's, you know, it's a type of shoe that you're going to need on stage in a lot of Broadway productions. And then for our male identifying dancers, jazz shoes, black jazz shoes. And then hip hop, you get the most freedom. I still think you need your hair back, and I think that helps Miss Andrea. I think also you won't get as sweaty because Miss Andy works those kids really hard. So make sure your hair's out of your face, but athletic clothes are fine. And then clean tennis shoes. It's hard to do hip hop if you don't have proper tennis shoes on, because that's the style of that type of dance. So make sure that you're bringing clean tennis shoes, preferably ones you're not going to wear outside, just so we don't damage our floors. And then adult hip hop, freedom there too. You can wear what you're comfortable in. Remember, clean tennis shoes, be comfy. This is a silly little graphic. Dancer A is ready and dancer B is not ready, but looks real cute. So we do want our dancers to start looking the part of pre-professional students. We want them to look beautiful and put together and ready for class and ready to dance safely. And that's something we're going to keep on keeping on. I know it's no fun to wear a leotard and tights in your hair in a bun every single day, but it looks so nice, and it's really, there's a reason we do it. So on to the next one, further resources on tights. So we are moving away from requiring pink tights for everybody. Pink tights are based in white supremacy. The light pink that's used for ballet tights comes from a time when all dancers were white and were expected to be really pale. And so pink tights, there's nothing really super visually wrong, except it's just not as flattering on people with darker skin tones. We want to make these long continuous lines. So we are moving away from requiring pink tights. If you choose to wear them, that's totally fine. Whatever color tights you choose, those are the color of shoes you're going to need to choose, because it looks really weird if you have like beautiful skin tone tights that match the rest of your body. And then you have these like really bright pink shoes at the end. It just kind of visually doesn't look correct. And it also, it's harder to see the shapes that you're making with your body. So if you choose skin tone tights, you need skin tone shoes. And if you choose pink tights, you need pink shoes. And we'll walk you through that. We'll make sure that we're stocking a diverse collection of tights and shoes. Where can you buy dancewear? There's a couple options in Lexington and Louisville. I recommend Dance Biz and Kinney Dancewear. Kinney specifically for point shoes is my favorite right now. They have a really experienced staff. Dance Biz also is a great option. We have a small store. We don't stock leotards, but we do stock tights and shoes. There are some delays in shipping with COVID, so we might not have the size that you need right now. And we also have some cheap used shoes that are $5 each. So that's something to think about, especially if your kids are going to grow. And then online, there's a lot of options. I recommend Discount Dance Supply and Dancewear Solutions as reputable places. And if you have any questions about brands or anything, you can always ask me. I'm going to quickly go through these. We have done a really good job of establishing these as tenets of how our students act. And I don't expect there to be any issues moving forward. Being early is on time, being on time is late, and being late is unacceptable. This is a big burden on families. This is the responsibility of the grown-ups in the dancers' lives to make sure that they get there on time. Especially as they get older, we want to give them time to warm up and to socialize and to be together before class. So things happen. Sometimes you're going to run late. Sometimes you're going to like miss class, be 10 minutes late, be there right on time. That's okay. But for the most part, be early and make sure that you're giving your dancer the time to succeed. The studio is for dancing and not for talking, eating, running, swinging, all of that stuff. We're doing a good job with this. I think we can always do better. Just, yes, the studio is a fun place. Yes, this is the place to be free and experiment and dance and have fun, but it's also a place that we're respectful of our space and of what we can do in this space. Dancers say thank you to their instructors. This is one I'm super proud of. We've had all of our guests that have come in over the spring and summer have noted how polite our students are. And that is super, super important to me. And I'm really proud of this. So at the end of every class, the teachers say thank you and the dancers say thank you. And it's beautiful. It's lovely. I love it. This is a big one. We follow our rules out of respect. It's not fear-based. We don't want our dancers to be like, oh, Miss Amanda's going to yell at me if I do this wrong. We follow the rules out of respect because we respect the time and the expertise of our teachers. We respect our fellow dancers. We respect our space. We respect what we're doing here. And this is something that is part of our culture, and it's been great, and I don't expect any problems, but just a reminder, we follow our rules out of respect. Perfection is the goal, but mistakes are part of the journey. This is one that all of our instructors harp on over and over and over. Try big, fail big, crash and burn. Like if you mess up, that's fine. That's what we're here to do. We're going for perfection. We're going to tweak and correct and make it better and better, but making mistakes is normal and part of the journey and why we're here. So dance tends to attract a lot of perfectionists. And so that's something that we talk about over and over and over. If you're not making a mistake, you're not trying. So keep trying, keep making those mistakes, and it will get better and better and better. Onto tuition policies. All of these are written out in the handbook. Just to remind everybody, we don't charge registration or withdrawal fees because that's silly and you don't need to pay for things that you're doing yourself. All of our teachers make a fair wage. We all make $25 an hour. Hopefully next year we can increase that because our teachers deserve to make a living wage, a fair wage. And then your tuition goes towards that, of course, paying for your teachers, but also making sure that our facility is up to date and making sure that it's safe. Flooring is a big deal. We have very expensive and very important flooring that keeps our dancers' bodies safe, making sure we have good sound systems, making sure we have mirrors at the front of the room. You all are paying for the upkeep of all of that stuff. Monthly due dates, basically, our whole tuition for the year is chopped up into 10, so you're paying the same amount every month regardless. It's just easier to budget that way. It's already been calculated, so it's just chunked up. Tuition automatically, most people enroll online and just have their card on file or their bank account on file and it'll withdraw it. That happens at the first of the month. We can change that. It's easy to do. You just have to let me know. Like if it works better to charge on like the 15th, if that works better with your pay schedule, that's fine. If you ever needed a payment plan, if you need adjusted tuition for some reason, if you're hitting a financial hardship, just let us know. Communication is the most important thing. We can work with a lot and we can adjust tuition and provide scholarships and all of this stuff. Just let us know. I don't want to charge you a late fee. It's an automatic thing on our website. Tuition that is more than 5 days late gets a $25 fee. If you know it's going to be late, just let me know before it charges that, because that's just easier. And then I'll get rid of that fee for you. Some other fees that come up, we'll talk more in detail about these later, but just so you can mark them down on your calendar. Nutcracker participation fee is October 23rd, and then Matilda, which is our spring performance, participation fee is January 22nd. If you ever needed to withdraw from class, that's fine. Just communicate that to us. Basically, shoot us an email. Let us know that you're no longer going to attend those classes. And if you happen to know the last date that you attended class or will attend class, we'll stop that tuition then, and we can prorate or we can refund if we need to. If you have the contact information for all your other instructors, go ahead and let them know. Otherwise, I'll do it. And then make sure that you get a confirmation from me, just like, yep, got it, no problem. This is when your tuition is going to stop being withdrawn. We do expect everybody that signs up to go from August until May, or whenever you enroll, if that's later than August through May. But if you ever needed to withdraw, that's fine. Just let us know. Things change. I don't know if you all remember last year, but there was a lot of weather cancellations. Just know that we do have a plan in place for that. So we will cancel by 1 o'clock if we're going to cancel evening classes. So 1 o'clock the day of. We'll do that on social media. We'll send out an email, all of that stuff. So we try to make sure that everybody is aware. Generally, we follow the school systems, but sometimes it's a little hinky. We follow Franklin County for the most part, but not always. So just double check. If for morning classes, specifically those on Saturday, we'll cancel by 9 p.m. the night before. So you'll know. In the event that we have snow days like we did last year, and we have to cancel classes twice for a certain day of the week. So let's say that it snows on a Wednesday and then the next week it also snows on a Wednesday. So you miss 2 classes, we'll do a makeup class, a makeup day for those classes. And usually we do that during spring break because we are off that weekend. That's the easiest one to do. If it's just one day that we cancel for snow days, we just assume that's just the nature of it. But if it's 2 or more, then we'll do a makeup day for those classes so we don't lose any of our training time. If you miss a class independently, like not for weather or an emergency or something, if you just miss because you're sick or because you're out of town, you can always do a makeup class. We are not going to remind you of that. That's not your teacher's job. But if you're ever curious, like, hey, how many have I missed? We keep attendance logs so we can let you know. Generally, you're going to do an age above or an age below or a matching age as your makeup class that happens on a different day. So if you're in like the Thursday Tiny Twirler class, you could do the Monday Tiny Twirlers class as a makeup or the Saturday Tiny Twirlers class as a makeup. Or go up to the beginning age group or down to the Me and My Grown Up age group to do a makeup. It's easiest to just ask your teacher what they recommend. Sometimes a class is really big, so the teacher would prefer you do a different one. Sometimes a particular kid might do better in an older group or better in a younger group, and we can always communicate that to you. Performance opportunities, fun stuff. We are doing the Nutcracker. We already have those dates. That will be December 17th and 18th with the dress rehearsal on the 16th. This is optional for everybody, even if you don't do ballet. There are rehearsals on Saturday. We do not necessarily rehearse this in class, so just know that going in. The participation fee is due on the 23rd. For Me and My Grown Up and Special Needs Dance, because we do not ask those kids to come in on Saturdays, it's $60, and we will rehearse those in class, assuming that we have participation in those classes. For Youth Division, it is $80. They will have Saturday rehearsals, and for Pre-Professional, it's $90, and they will have Pre-Professional or Saturday rehearsals. All of the rehearsals will be Saturdays from October 30th through December 11th, except for the weekend of Thanksgiving. We give that weekend off. And then dress rehearsal is mandatory and it's December 16th. Sometimes we do rehearse some of the pre-professional classes in their class time, and that's assuming that everybody in that class is participating. We're not going to rehearse if we don't have full participation. I announce the rehearsal schedule the day that I do casting. And so that's usually on or before October 25th, so you have some time to plan, but I will give you casting, so what your kid's part is going to be, and then every single Saturday rehearsal, what that'll look like, and then exactly the timing for dress rehearsal and exactly the timing for the performance days. We will wait and kind of see what COVID is going to do. But I imagine we will have our dress rehearsal as usual, a school show on Friday the 17th, an evening show on Friday the 17th, and probably 3 performances on the 18th. But we'll solidify that once we know what our capacity will look like. Matilda is going to be our spring performance, and I'm super excited. This is a full studio performance, so you don't have to do it if you have a dancer that doesn't want to perform, or you know you're going to be out of town or something, that's fine. We don't know the dates yet. Usually the Grand likes us to wait until after Nutcracker to solidify our dates with them. We usually go for April, so we avoid all the school stuff that happens in May. But as soon as I know, I'll let you all know. We do rehearse this in class, so even if you're not going to perform, you will learn the dance in class, and that's fine. That fee is due January 22nd, which we talked about before. For youth division, it's $60 for your initial or only class and $40 for each additional class. That would only affect the beginning dance classes, which are 2 classes. So it'd be $60 and then $40, so $100 total to perform in both of those classes. And then for pre-professional, it's $70 for your initial or only class and $50 for each additional. So if you take like ballet, jazz, and tap, it's 70, 50, 50. And just adds up cumulatively. I will note that I did raise our participation fees by $10 across the board. There's a costume company, there's very limited costume companies in the dance world. One of them closed unexpectedly in COVID, and so prices are going up because demand is higher. So I want to be sure that we can get the costumes that we need. So I raised all of our prices by $10 for the participation fee, just in case you're like, wait a minute, Miss Amanda, this is more expensive. Same thing as we talked about in Nutcracker, I'm going to announce all of our additional rehearsals, which we usually don't have, but all of that, exactly what dress rehearsal is going to look like, exactly what show days are going to look like on or before February 1st. Rehearsal attendance policy, we did much better last year. With this, 80% attendance rate is expected, so all of our dancers know what's going on. If they are below an 80% attendance rate of their rehearsals for Nutcracker or for Matilda, we're going to ask them to do a private or semi-private lesson, assuming that their teacher has time to do that, because we have to be mindful of their time. You can also just request that if you just want a little extra practice if you're struggling. That's always fine. We want to be sure that everybody feels ready and good. If you do need to withdraw from a performance, we will try to reimburse you for what we haven't used. I do order costumes pretty much immediately. So if those are already ordered, I can't get a refund from the companies, but I can refund the remainder if there is any. It is better if you have to withdraw to do it earlier in the rehearsal process instead of later, because that's a big burden on your teacher and choreographer to rearrange things and make it work. So just like be aware of that. This doesn't apply to emergencies. So if you're like unexpectedly hospitalized or something, obviously we'll refund you. That's not what this is. Progression through levels, I'm going to go through this quickly. Basically, youth division is by age. We can kind of adjust that if we needed to, if somebody's really far ahead or really far behind for the milestones of their age group. That doesn't happen often, but that's purely by age at time of enrollment. Pre-professional is where that changes a little bit. You start at age 8, and then it's dependent on how your body is progressing and how your mind is progressing. Sometimes you need a little longer in a level, sometimes you don't need as long in a level, and it's just dependent on the dancer. We do use our curricula to help us understand that, and we share that with families so the dancers and the families know exactly what the goals are for every level. It's openly shared. That's what I was just talking about, our curricula in Google Classroom, as well as our website, and we print it out and we have it in the studio. You can always refer to it to see like, where am I and where am I trying to get to move on to the next level. Point work is a big one for our ballet dancers and pre-professional. We do that at level 3. We've had really great success setting goals for our level 3 dancers to make sure that they're hitting all of those responsibility markers. When your dancers in level 3, I will talk to you about what the expectations are. We also got to have a screening with a physical therapist this year to make sure our dancers were strong and safe, and that was great. Point work is a big deal. There's a potential for injury, so we take it super, super seriously. So my dancers that are in ballet and going into level 3, be ready, because this is a big deal and we take it super serious. Audition requirements. This has been a little funky because of COVID, but generally we ask all of our older dancers to audition somewhere at some point in the year. Summer intensives often have auditions to get into them. Usually they start around age 11, and usually they're in Louisville, Cincinnati, Lexington. But you go and you take a class. Usually you have to have a headshot and some photos. You pay a small fee, like $30 or $40 generally, and you go take class with somebody. And then you get in or you don't, and that's kind of the least important part. This is a great way for students to meet other dancers. This is a great way to kind of gauge where our school is compared to other schools in the area, make sure that we're on track with what we need to know and what we need to be doing. It's hard to require it during COVID just because we might not always be able to do it. A lot of places didn't have auditions or did them on Zoom. We will talk more about this as we get closer, but it is important as a pre-professional dancer to know that this is part of the professional world. So this is something that we're going to talk more about and just have it in the back of your mind that this is a requirement and this is something that we really want our dancers to experience. Summer classes and intensives for pre-professional division. This is specifically for our dancers that want to perform on point in the Nutcracker. You are expected to dance in the summer. It is not safe to take a whole summer off and then jump back into where you were. So just be aware of that. I'm going to talk to our pre-professional dancers coming in because we have had a few that didn't meet that requirement this summer. And so the rule is if you don't dance in the summer, you can't perform on point in the Nutcracker because it's not safe. So I do want to be clear that this is an expectation, and it's an expectation for a reason, and it's not something we're going to fudge. So it's tough. It's tough. I don't like being the bad guy. It's no fun. I do want to be clear also that it's not a finances thing. Money is the least important. We will pay for you to dance. We will scholarship you to dance. We will find ways to make it happen. So never feel like it's out of reach because you can't afford it. We will make it work. You just have to make the effort to do it, right? There's a lot of ways we're trying to give you a lot of options with intensives here or somewhere else, in classes and private lessons, whatever you need to do to make this happen. We have to keep you dancing so you're safe, so you're ready to go back into the year and we're able to progress. Private lessons, sometimes you might feel like you need a private lesson to be able to get a certain skill, overcome an injury, solidify choreography. Just so you know, those rates are set by whoever you're doing the private lesson with. So whatever their rate for private lessons is, usually it's between 30 and 50 per hour is theirs, and the studio doesn't charge a rental fee to our dancers or our teachers. COVID, all right. This is a constantly evolving situation. So KDA, we might change the requirements, recommendations, and procedures at the studio at any time just based on what the recommendations are. Our studio, we want you to keep in mind that we're really diverse. We have a lot of school districts, we have a lot of communities, we have a lot of towns and counties. We also have teachers that are pregnant, we have teachers with pre-existing conditions, we have family members with pre-existing conditions. It's a lot of things happening in this one studio, and we have, probably 175 different dancers in the building. We are going to make masks optional for dancers and family members under age 3, and then we're going to require them for dancers and family members over age 3, regardless of vaccination status, excepting those with medical conditions that prevent mask usage. I know it's no fun. Nobody wants to dance in a mask. I don't want to teach in a mask, but more than that, I don't want to teach on Zoom. We want to keep our dancers in the studio. We want to keep the progress we're making. I think the best way to do that is to mask everybody. There's always space and time for dancers to take a break from their mask if they need to pull it down, get a drink of water, take a couple of deep breaths. We've got space in our rooms to do that. There's tons of hand sanitizer. One of the big things, we're not going to talk about masking and not masking and having debates because that's not fair, and it can be very isolating. We don't want to shame anybody. We don't want to bully anybody. So we're just not going to talk about it. We're going to wear our masks and come to class. And if anybody has any issues, talk to us. Like, give us what you need from us to feel comfortable and confident. Here's some outside resources for masks that I think are really good for dancers. We've all experienced this before. We'll have disposable ones at the front. We'll make it work. It is what it is. Just a reminder, we're increasing hand sanitizer. We're additionally sanitizing things. We're spraying everything down with rubbing alcohol so it doesn't damage clothes and it's not dangerous for anybody. And before I leave every day, I sanitize everything before I lock up. Here's a slide that I added because I realized you all did not know this. Studio communication to families. I know we're all overwhelmed with email, but that's the best way to do it. You should expect a weekly update email every Friday from me that's going to have a rundown of things to expect, some upcoming events, any deadlines that are going to come up, any reminders that I need to get out to you all. I just go with the registration email, but if you have another one, like if you used your personal email to register, but you check your work email more frequently and that's easier, just shoot me an email with that address and I'll add it on. And each class also has a Google Classroom. We decided at our staff meeting we're going to keep that. It's not as important at the beginning of the year, but it was really, really, really great to have for choreography when we get closer to recital. So we will set those up and get those out to you the first couple weeks of classes. So look for that in your weekly update emails from all your teachers. And that does it all. Questions, comments, concerns, reach out. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I don't expect parents that did not dance to understand the world of dance, so ask everything. That is part of our job. That's part of my job specifically. My number is on everything. My email is on everything. You can send us Instagram messages or Facebook, anything you need, we got it. Oh, I think I did this faster. I think it was better. And I hope you all have a great day. As always, I am here if you need me, and I will see you in the studio soon.